Welcome to Rock Solid, the Round Rock Business Leaders Podcast. Join your host, Bryan Eisenberg, as he explores the journeys of entrepreneurs and companies across Round Rock, Texas. From startups and nonprofits to large organizations, each guest shares their passion for doing business in this thriving community. Let's dive in.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to Rock Solid. I am joined today by none other than the fabulous Michelle Lee, our councilwoman. And let me see if I can get all of these, because it is not just a handful. So you and your husband own whole roofing and construction. You also own 3 downtown bars, so the Rock Sports Bar, the Flats, and Alcove Cantina. You sit on several boards, including the Round Rock Chamber, Williamson County Children's Advocacy. I'm sure I'm missing a couple there. Rotary as well. You keep very busy.
I do.
And so I'd be very curious, if someone followed you around with a camera all day long, what would be their biggest surprise about watching you?
I think it's how quickly you have to change.
Okay.
Sometimes it's physically. Sometimes I have to do a wardrobe change and just go to the next event. Sometimes it's just, figuratively changing my hat. Like, okay, I'm a mom right now, or I am a wife right now, or I am a roofer. So depending on the day, I just have to pivot all the time and just be ready for the next thing.
Would they get whiplash at the speed of that pivot?
Yes, you have to move fast. If you're not ready to move, then yes, I drink lots of coffee every day as well. So I literally move really fast, but I also have to get to lots of places, doing lots of things. I do roof inspections.
Yeah, so you climb on roofs. It's not like,
So sometimes you have to get in the truck, grab a ladder, get up on the roof, and then come back and go to Rotary. So
I'm very curious, because you mentioned the other day when you announced the kickoff to your campaign, you spoke about your parents coming here, for a semiconductor company. Mm-hmm. If they imagine then that you'd be a roofer and bar owner and councilwoman, like, what would have been going through their heads?
Well, they still can't wrap their heads around it. It was my parents' requirement was you go to a 4-year university and get a degree. They did not get that opportunity, so they said, you children, that's our ask from you. So all 3 of us, we got 3 different degrees, 3 different schools, and mine was in a Bachelor of Science athletic training. I was going to be a physical therapist. They wanted me to go into the medical field. I said, I will do physical therapy because I love sports. I'm willing to go that far into medical. And I got my degree. I loved it. I was ready to join the Dallas Cowboys to be their trainer. Never got a job offered. That's just where
you wanted to be.
Yes. I was ready to do it. And then when I got out of school, I was still working in the service industry. I was climbing that ladder. I did like marketing for them, other things. I was behind the bar as well, but did lots of things. And got a job with Farmers Insurance to inspect homes after they had a loss.
Okay.
And it was a lot of roof climbing. It was also water damage, fire damage. So somehow I got thrown into that and kind of like, I don't know what I'm doing. Let's figure this out. And that's where I met my husband.
And so that roofing company you've had around, what, is it almost 20 years now?
No, so I have 20 years in the roofing industry.
Okay.
We opened Hall Roofing in 2012.
Okay.
So it's been a while.
14 years. Yeah. From the perspective of being a business owner of, so many different types of businesses, right? Because each bar is kind of different. The restaurant, not restaurant, bar, as well as the roofing company. How does that shift your perspective on, what it takes to run a business and how to support other people in the community who are running businesses?
So with my situation, my husband is the big dreamer. He comes up with all the big ideas. I'm usually the one that pulls him back and is like, wait a minute, are we sure? But he just like gets this idea and he won't be able to let go of that idea until he makes it happen. And so what I've learned is my best role is to support him in that, and then also figure out a way to make it run. So he builds it and I run it.
And that's no small feat because, being involved in the chamber, we talk to a lot of business owners. And the biggest struggle always in their scaling is, oftentimes they think it's marketing, but oftentimes really it's the operations are just not smooth enough. They're not clean enough. They're not providing great enough experiences that everything flows through. And I've seen you've had the title of Chief Operating Officer for Whole Roofing. How do you set those operations? Because obviously you can't be in every business every day. What's your secret for managing all of that and from an operational standpoint?
I think I have, being an introvert, I have this talent of sitting back and observing and listening to people.
Okay.
And with that, I've been able to really hone in on who is good at what. So I have learned that, hey, I have a great bartender here who is great de-escalating customers. So when I have angry customers, I usually say, hey, can you call this customer and figure this out for me? Or I can sit back and say, this one's not so great with customers, but they can handle these reservations and organize them and put them in the order and organize their food orders, and I'll put them behind a computer and do that. So being as introverted as I am, I just like to sit back and listen and let people show me what they're good at. And with that, I can operate the businesses and figure out who can do what. And sometimes I don't find someone who's doing it to the quality that I want, so I have to do it.
Yeah, because I mean, you talked about it, right? When you first started the roofing business, you were up on the roofs all the time. When you first opened up the bar, when right after your pregnancy, you were there open until close.
Yep.
And now, what does that typical day look like? Like if we were following you, what would that typical day look like running between all these different things?
So I start at 6 a.m. I get up, get ready, and the first thing is to get Reagan ready and out the door and to school. But that usually entails, all the homework done, everything is packed up. And then I get to work after that. Usually early in the mornings, we get to have our cup of coffee and then...
First coffee.
Yeah, first one. And then just go through the emails, try to organize the day and the week. I check to see how many city council obligations I have that week. I check to see what other... Like this week in particular, I had... Williamson County Children's Advocacy Board meeting. We had city council. We had packet briefing. I had career day.
We had a ribbon cutting.
We had 2 ribbon cuttings.
Yep.
So, you map that out on your week and you take it day by day and just go to each event. And in between, I have to make sure the schedule is ready. I have to make sure payroll's getting ready to roll. And so just the small windows in between each appointment, I have to fit in the operations of each business.
So are you, I know I'm diving deep into this, but I'm curious, are you time blocking those and saying, okay, I have this much time between that period, I'm going to do payroll here?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, I literally run from one meeting, exit a meeting, and run to either a next event, or I'm like, okay, I have an hour. In this hour, I've got to fit in 2 phone calls and an inspection. And so like every little sliver of time block, I try to take care of. I do try to wrap up work for the most part by 6 when Reagan gets out of her extracurricular. And then I have to feed her, do homework, do that kind of stuff. And after I put her to bed, there are occasions where I have to get the computer back out and wrap up my day, finish the emails I didn't get to, finish responding to employees that I didn't respond to, things like that.
The the biggest challenge that I imagine, you face as a councilwoman and business owner is being accountable to others. How do you manage being accountable to yourself with that responsibility that you have all these pulls from so many different directions?
That's a tough one because I'm probably my worst critic. So, I mean, I have honest conversations. The CEO of the Children's Advocacy Center, we've had coffee, and I said, "Am I still effective for this board?"
Mm-hmm.
And she's like, "For as long as we can have you, we want you."
Okay.
But I had to step back. I did step off the YMCA, and there's 3-year terms there. But I finished a 3-year term, my second one, and I said, "You know what? I can't do another 3-year term because I don't feel like I'm being effective anymore." I don't like to join things just to have it on my resume. I want to make sure that it's intentional, and I want to make sure that I'm making a difference. And if I'm not making a good difference, if I'm pulling them back, then it's my time to go.
I'm curious because you mentioned the job fair, and you've done it for a few different age groups. And one year you're going in there for representing not-for-profits. Another one, it's the trades. And I know you've won awards in the trades as well. The other one's business owner. What's been the most interesting question that these students have asked you?
So I do give them an overview of what my background is and why I'm talking to them for whatever subject it is. And they always question, how do you have time for all of that? The real answer is I get less sleep than the average person.
Okay.
I'm pretty good on 3 to 4 hours a night. And that's a normal day. There are some days I get less, a couple days I get more. But it averages about 3 to 4 hours of sleep.
I would have never have imagined.
But it's just, I thrive on the energy, and I thrive when I know that what I'm doing matters to someone. And it could just matter to one person. But if I made a difference to one person, then I've got the energy to keep going.
Now, I know we're recording here at Round Rock Studio, right around the corner from Round Rock High School, and you're a former Dragon. I've got 2 have graduated, one that's a junior, so lots of years of being there. So, you were a Round Rock Dragon as well. What was that point where you shifted from being, I'm from Round Rock, but now I have to serve Round Rock?
I think I've always had the servant's heart. I've mentioned at my ribbon cutting, my parents are Vietnamese refugees. So they raised me as they would have a Vietnamese girl from Vietnam. That's all they knew. I'm a Texan, I'm an American, and they just didn't know what it meant to be an American. So they raised me as a Vietnamese child. With that, at a very young age, I served my family. I physically served food. I would collect dirty dishes, take it away. It's just how the girls were raised.
Yeah.
And with that, when I started school, there was an opportunity. So the Sertoma Club here in Round Rock had a club in the high school called Zoe. It was a Serteen club.
Okay.
So I joined that one, and we gave back to the community that way. And that's just where it started, was I wanted to give back. And my parents, we were never rich, but my parents were more blessed here in America than they could have ever been in Vietnam. So they're like, whenever you're blessed and you can give, even if it's not money, if you can give your time or if you can help somebody, you should.
And this is something I think a lot of people miss today because they think, serving our community is money related. But there's so many great nonprofits in our area that could just use a little bit of time and for some hands to pack food, to deliver gifts, whatever it is.
Yeah, and I think also with my businesses, the service industry is a tough business right now. So I can tell you that money is not always what I have available to give. Sometimes it is my time, and sometimes it is my talent of being able to connect people. Or I know that so-and-so can deliver and donate some materials, and I have some labor. So sometimes it's just partnering with the right people to make sure things can get done.
And you know, you've been shouted out on the podcast by Philip Golden.
Yes.
He said he was speaking somewhere, and the next thing he knew, he had an email from you that you had generously donated a roof. And when that's available, that's great, right?
Yes.
But if it's not, I mean, like you just invested in the new Rock Sports Bar, new commercial kitchen building. I'm sure the cash flow looks a little differently today than maybe it was back then. I'm curious because, being in a center of a fast-growing city where you're on city council and, you're going to have your critics, what do you say to them who might think, oh, she's doing it for her benefit, not for our communities?
I get that a lot. All I can do is lead by example, and I don't do this for fame. I mean, those that still know me from high school, and I have to say my class in high school is pretty stacked.
Yes. we could definitely go there because I don't think so many people even realize like that year had so many people who own businesses in the area. Like I don't know what it was in the water.
Yes.
But I'm hoping that passes to my kids as well.
Yeah, I mean Brooks Bennett and I are the same grade. Celicia Sanchez Adame, Jonas Miller, Brandon Nagel. We are all from the same class. It's lots of entrepreneurs, lots of leaders. But in school, I was a very, very quiet person. I was in band, but I was a doer. If I ever heard that somebody needed something or somebody needed help, I would do it. I don't even necessarily need to be asked. I just did. So I think I just served the same way. Like, I had to actually have my team, my family, when I was running and had an opponent and things were thrown at me, I said, guys, back off. Don't reply. If you know it to not be true, then let's just leave it at that. It's just not true. And we will continue to work and do what we do every day.
Yeah, because I mean, I've heard stories of your leadership, like, you lead from the front. In other words, if trash needs to go out, you're carrying bags first and then hoping other people will follow you.
Yes. I've always led by example. Same thing with my child. If I am asking her to do something, I am also doing it. But I don't ever say, hey, you do that. You do that. I'm like, hey, guys, let's all jump in and do this. And it'll get done faster.
I'm curious, you're now going to be entering your third term as city council, and, you do wear all these different hats, the nonprofit hat, the business owner hat. How does sitting on city council affect the way you think as a business owner, and vice versa? How does being a business owner affect what you bring into the city council?
When I first decided to run for city council, I was concerned, what can I add to city council? Will I be any good at it? And what I found out by talking to others, especially others that have served on city council, they said, you have the perspective of seeing Round Rock through the eyes of a child, through the eyes of an adult, through the eyes of a parent. And that's important. Like when you see Round Rock in those three different views, you know what could be best for Round Rock. And I never thought of it that way. I was just thinking, oh, I'm a business owner. That's why I should run. Or it was, someone told me that, and it was like, you're right. I mean, I have seen it. I mean, I don't know if you've heard this, but when we moved to Round Rock, my family, they moved here for the semiconductor.
Yep.
But I came here kicking and screaming. I was like, you're taking me away from my friends in this awkward age I'm in.
Yep.
I don't want to do this. As soon as I graduate, I'm out of here. So I did. I graduated. I left, went to college.
Off to school, yep.
Found out that my parents knew something. This is a great place to raise a family, a great place to work. Those are not things I thought about when we moved here. And so that's why we moved back here, is for the business friendliness, the family aspect, the safety, the fact that it's not a big city. I feel good here. I love it here.
Yeah. We recently had the mayor on, Mayor Morgan, and, he mentioned that Round Rock gets to be a little picky now, right, on who it brings in, because it doesn't have to bring in anyone. We also don't have unlimited space anymore. From your perspective, from your vision, from, growing up here young to now, what do you hope would be here for your daughter and her generation?
I hope that the things that do come here are things that are just thriving. We're not looking in a short-term lens. Like, for example, Dell. Who knew that Dell would be such a monster that it is?
Yeah.
And just bringing in people that want to be here for the long term. When we had to leave the Rock Sports Bar original building, it would have been so much easier to close the doors and call it.
Yep. Say goodbye to the staff.
Yep.
And
My husband was like, this is not the way we end the Rock Sports Bar. Our landlord doesn't get to tell us the end of our story. That's not how we end this. We are in it for the long haul. We want to see downtown thriving. And there might be a time that, hey, downtown's doing great. It's time for us to step back and let somebody else
steward
do
it.
this.
Yeah.
But I just want to see things thriving for her. Downtown was a ghost town when I was in high school. It was.
Brandon told me some of the stories.
Oh, my
there was like a
goodness.
funeral home and Round Rock Donuts, and that was about it.
And we didn't even want to come down here for the library. It was just like so empty.
Yeah.
There was a coffee place that the band kids were able to play every once in a while, but it was also closed down very early. So seeing downtown the way it is now is such a great thing. And I would say Kristen, Mayor Pro Tem Stevens, and I were probably the most hesitant on seeing the change in the zoning, because we were like, oh my goodness, could you imagine? But at the end of the day, I just want to know that we're thriving as a city.
And keeping some of that small town identity that we
Yes.
still feel, because that's one of the unique things. You walk into some of the places today and you still see all the people. You kind of recognize it doesn't feel big city, even though we're getting there. What's some of your favorite things that are here now that you get to do with your family whenever you have like a few free moments? Do you bucket those? Like, oh yeah, we're gonna have family time now.
We definitely block those off. My daughter, being the only child, likes to plan multiple birthday parties for different, like she has a basketball team. So she has a party for them, party for her school friends, party for church friends. So some of the things she likes to block off for me is we did a party at the Dell ballpark.
Okay.
That was a lot of fun. I was like, are you sure? But there was a baseball game, just so much going on. We like to go outdoors and go to the park. Eric is an outdoors guy, so, hunting and fishing and those kinds of things. We try to take some weekends and go out and just go where our phones don't work. That's the only way we can really
Unwind a little bit.
Yeah, is where the phones don't work. So, yeah, I love to travel. I want to travel the world with Reagan at some point. I've got to take her back to Vietnam and teach her about her culture.
Yeah.
We teach her now, but to really immerse her in,
If there's anything you can tell our audience about, who you are, that, they may see you in the community a lot. And I was talking to Mayor Morgan about this last night. It's that, we're not a show about politics. Mm-hmm. It's not what we are. We're a show about neighbors. Mm-hmm. We see you in the community. I wouldn't want someone to come in and sit here who I've never met in the community, because that would feel unnatural. That would feel like political. What would you want them to know about Michelle Lee?
Gosh, I mean, most days I feel like I'm the worst politician ever because I'm shy. But one-on-one, if you approach me, I'm so comfortable with one-on-one conversations. When you throw me in this big room with hundreds of people, I'm like, oh my goodness.
Yeah, I saw you even at your ribbon cutting having to speak. And that wasn't a major room, but it was still a good size.
But one-on-one, you can ask me anything, and I'm honest about it. My face will express something before my words come out. But I'm probably one of the biggest cheerleaders for Round Rock. I just love being here, and I love being able to tell the story that I didn't want to be here.
Yeah.
I didn't. I thought it was a small town, and now it's like I go to HEB. I still say hi to my neighbors because I know somebody in that HEB. And going to have coffee and saying hi to your friends. It's just, that feeling is great. And at the ribbon cutting for the Rock Sports Bar, that is truly our cheers bar. People come there and we know about their dogs. We know about their parents and who's coming into town next week. And that was just cool. I have customers that, watched me grow big and be pregnant and waddle back and forth across the street, and then having a baby and strolling her across the street back and forth. So, I mean, I grew up here as a kid, but I grew up here as a parent. I grew up here as a business owner. So, I mean, I'm an open book. People can ask me anything. I may not approach people because I'm so shy, but if you approach me, let's talk.
Yeah, and we thank you for all you do for the community and all the service you put out there. So thank you for your time today. If anybody has any questions and wanted to email you or find you on social media, is there a place that it's best to connect with you?
Yes, I do manage all the social media accounts, so you're usually getting me on there. A couple people have access, but it's usually me. I also, email is usually great because if I am in a meeting, I can reference back the emails. I sometimes forget about phone calls because I'm like, not answering my phone now and I may forget who called. So.
Yeah. Understandable. Thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. This is fun.